All right. So, satin stitch. It's going to be our next stitch we're going to do. As you can tell, that's backwards to you, but whatever. Satin stitch. What you need to do is draw on your fabric somehow. Drawing, I think, is probably going to be the easiest thing to do. Two lines. They go, like, they don't need to be really far apart, and they don't need to be really long, but do it about the same. What's this, like 2 or 3 inches long, maybe an inch apart, and we're gonna load or prepare our thread just like we normally do. Tie a knot on the end, come in through the back side as per usual. Start at one end, it does not matter. I'm gonna start right here at the top of this stitch, come all the way through, pull it till that knot hits, and a satin stitch is just going to span the entire gap. It's going to span the entire gap. So I'm going to go from the top of this line to the top of this line. And you pull it all the way through. Perfect. And then you're going to come back to that original line, back to the same line that you started on. Don't go back to this one. Don't come up on the same line that you just entered through. Come back to this one and pull it through. And as close as you can get underneath that stitch hole or that thread above, you're going to basically just create a bunch of parallel lines that cover a large space. These are going to be used all exactly kind of how I just said it. They're going to cover a large space. The longer the gap is, the more loose that your threads could be, and things would have to be kind of real tight in order to keep the threads looking nice. So that this doesn't have to be super big, but it does span a gap, and it looks really neat and tidy as you're working through it. So once again, I went down through this hole right here. I'm going to come up, testing my needle through as close as I can underneath the thread on that original line. Pull it tight, and come across. Pull it tight. Once again, I have all this excess fabric and it's bugging me. Oh, and do you know what I did? I sewed through the fabric. Doesn't matter. Crisis averted. I'm gonna snip all this extra fabric off because we don't need it and it's just getting in my way. So there. Okay. Pick up the needle. Let's try that again. See, because my fabric is really thin, if I pull it tight, like it'll legitimately cinch the fabric together. Ow. Bumped my apparatus. Cinch the fabric together. So it doesn't need to be really, really tight. But let's keep going with it. So as close as you can underneath that original line, your start line, underneath the thread above it, and across the gap and down as close as you can underneath that one. And the more you do that, you're going to continue to go loop over and over and over and over down this gap, and it's going to turn into basically like one big fabric plank, one blob that covers an entire space. And when you have a design that you're trying to do, this can be really handy when it comes to hand stitching, in order to like cover a lot of space and make it look neat. See, look, oh, that's so nice. Wow, beautiful. This is the stitch that I used for the cab logo. And I'll explain that to you probably in the next video that explains the next assignment to do with embroidery, but I'll show you how I did it for that cab logo that I put on the shirt and the one that I put on the felt that I've showed most of you. But I did a back stitch outline, and then I satin stitched in between, which I found made really clean lines. It made it look very nice. This stitch can be somewhat time consuming because you're only going a stitch length. So if you use a thicker thread or you use more thread, like all 6 strands of your 6-strand thread, then it'll probably go a little bit faster and it'll be cover more area. But because I'm only using 2, it's a little bit meticulous. Yeah, so you're just threading it up and through under that original start line and then down underneath that thread. Bunch of parallel lines. After you're done doing a big embroidery patch on the back side, like you're looking at a bunch of loose threads, there's a backing piece that will go on that, like an iron-on backing piece that keeps everything in place. So don't worry about that. But look, it's neat on the back side because I'm pulling it tight, and it looks very similar to how the front looks. So continue on, do a section here. You don't have to do multiple satin stitches. Like this is, as we're going through, this is going to be your example piece. So I'll continue on and show you the final result. Okay, that's my satin stitch. I didn't finish it, but I did until really I ran out of thread. I had like, let me see if I can grab the needle now. I had like this much thread left, so not very much. Because a satin stitch uses so much thread, the stitches themselves are really long. The back side of your stitches are really long, so basically you're using a ton of thread. I didn't, yeah, you're gonna fly through thread a little bit faster, but you cover more space. I guess that's the benefit of it. So that's what your satin stitch should look like. Look at that, that's pretty clean looking. Pretty nice. Backside looks really nice. I tied it off just like I tied off all the other ones. Going underneath the stitch, but not through the fabric, and then tying a little knot. Yeah, that's our satin stitch. That one, done.